All right, I think we're going to be in the same boat that we've been in, which is um, I don't think your audio is going to make it through, and I still haven't set up my Windows machine because I've been out of town. I was in, I think I mentioned to you, right, that I was headed to Helena, Montana. Um, Anybody been to Helena, Montana besides me? I've been to some other towns in Montana. I made a trip to up to Kalispell once, into Glacier National Park, and up into whatever that Canadian side of the north of the border of Glacier. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But Helena was like, um, what shall we call it? Very much, kind of eastern Idaho. Basically, it kind of just reminded me of, I don't know, Pocatello or something, or Idaho Falls. You know what I mean? It very much had that sort of Idaho feel. This is not the big mountains part of Montana, but Montana's beautiful. It's also big. Um, but this is one that I-15, our very own I-15, that passes right through the middle of UVU, passes right through the middle of Helena. So it's literally the same road. Just get on I-15 and drive north. James, I highly, highly recommend Glacier and Banff. There's a number of Canadian national parks up there, a couple of them. I don't even remember what they're called, but I've been to them. I just don't remember. Sorry, I'm like I don't know what I am, an anti-Canadian nationalist bigot. I don't know. No, I just don't remember what the national parks were called up there, but there were like, I think there were three different national parks kind of munched up together up there. Yes, Lake Louise up there near Banff. Beautiful, man. I want to go back. I've been up there twice, up to Banff in that area, Lake Louise. And anyway, yeah, man, I don't remember, Luke. There's that what's that, Sunshine Valley Road, or Road to the Mountain of the Sun, or Valley of the Sun. I don't know what it's called. There's this beautiful drive up there. Anyway, highly recommend it. Highly, highly recommend it. Um, okay, let me me entertain you. What I'm going to do, let me give you some ground rules. Um, Let me give you some ground rules for our discussion today. I am going to tell you all the questions, basically. In essence, I may not read them to you, but I'm going to tell you. Here's a question, and what I'm not. Let me tell you first what I'm not going to do. I am not going to, like, tell you the answer. And here's the reason why. And it really relates to what I am going to tell you, which is kind of what I care about, the broad gist of certain ideas. When it comes to the patterns, I'm just going to refer you back to the Skater Check book, or to the whatever the new one is. I'm going to refer you there. I'm not going to answer questions about that today, because I just want you to go back. But you'll see when you see the questions, when you hear the questions. What I will do is try to give you some broad coaching on the best way to answer these questions, because what I do, yeah, you're welcome, Seeds, to write down. It's going up on YouTube. What I mean? So it's kind of publicly available. Yeah, no, there's no sort of like honor system here that I'm going to say it, but you have to only just keep it in your mind. That would not be fair. This is very much meant to be like, go study these things. And the reason that I'm not going to say, here's the answer to that question, is that every question on this midterm is a short answer question. And the thing about a short answer is, if I tell you, here are the two sentences which, if you say, you get the 2 points, then it really defeats the purpose. Okay? Um, what I want to be able to do is just say, is to talk about how to take this sort of an exam. What it is, what am I looking for? What are you looking for, Dr. K? And I'm not looking on any given question. I'm not looking for a specific thing. There are some questions where there are some things that are so obvious that it would be not a good indicator if you didn't, come up with some of the really obvious things. But a lot of it, what I'm really looking for is original thought, just original thinking. Oh, linky link. Hang on a second. Let me drop that in the chat. And something else was raised earlier. Something was raised earlier. I think it was Luke who raised the question in the chat earlier today. I wasn't like on my laptop, but I saw it. I was out somewhere. I think I was eating some Cafe Rio, perhaps. There's the link. About price of frickin' gasoline, and some of you are doing some miles to get to campus. I mean, part of it, yeah, man. So Luke was talking about 28-mile round trip, 14 miles each way. Pretty soon you get to the point where you're dropping, depending upon what kind of piece of crap car you're driving, which, that's a function of your age. What I mean? At your age, you mostly drive piece of crap cars. I'm driving a Highlander hybrid, rocking, I don't know what I get. I mean, it's a four-wheel drive Toyota with a tow package, and I'm getting 35 miles to the gallon, basically. So I'm like, hey, no big deal for me. But yeah, Luke was just talking about, and you guys are on limited budgets. I'm basically just uh, throwing down a concurrence with the idea that, I mean, it's really just better for me for the duration if we keep it remote. I mean, we're not blaming it on what was our last COVID variant? Omicron, Omigursh. Um, yeah. Anyway, so all right. So there's the link. Megatron. Yeah, Gunner. That's right, man. It's the Megatron. Um, yeah, Alex. Good point. Anyway, good. I appreciate the discussion about uh, transit passes and ways of getting to campus, whatever. But I told you about my new job. That's what I was doing up in Helena. And so I'm really quite content. Maybe we can do some kind of pizza bash on the last day or something just for fun. I don't know how many people would show up for that. I mean, right now we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. We got 22. Yeah, you know what I'm thinking about is what would happen. There are 22 in the live chat today, which means okay, I'm going to run a survey real quick, then we'll get over to the exam. Um, or maybe it would be like during finals week, like during the final exam designated. I don't know. Hang on. Now, understand something here. I'm going to throw the question down. There's the survey question. The survey question says, I seriously, and I mean, like gut check yourself before we wreck myself. Because I know right now it sounds good because you're all hungry or whatever, you skipped lunch. I seriously would show up at Nico's in Provo around the last day of the semester or during finals, sometime that we designated for some free pizza on Dr. K. Because Yeah, I mean, depending upon the head count, because I know some of you, yeah, we'd have to decide, right? We'd have to decide if it's like at class time or at another time. I would want to do it sort of like off hours so we could more or less just like take over the place. Um, and some of you got like class right before, class right after. Getting there becomes tough. But we did this with 3450 last semester, but there were only like freaking 12 people in the class, and then like 9 of them showed up. But I literally bought everybody pizza at Nico's. It was great. It was so much fun and having that, face to face. But what I'd have to do is like maybe arrange it with Nate, the owner, you know, where I'd have to say, hey man, if I bring that's 19, one who's in the doghouse, who's the dog? Luke is a dog. Um, no, but uh, if I arranged it with Nate, where I'm just like, hey, dude, I'm gonna bring like 20 people. We'd have to do a thing where we'd get confirmation so I could kind of plan, and we just kind of show up and mob the place, and it did take a while to get our food. Canute, you're making hot mic sounds. Heads up, Canute. There you go. Thanks, man. Um, Yeah, well, James. Okay, I'm going to make you guys a deal. I'm going to make you a deal going into this midterm. If you kick the ever-loving crap out of this midterm, I will seriously consider uh, doing something like, letting you count your midterm as your final or something, some trick that allows us to eat pizza instead of suffering. And I'm speaking of both of us, both of us being you being one of us and me being the other one of us. Um, yeah. Okay. Oh, is that what it was, Canute? Okay. Canute was groaning about a homework assignment. Okay. Very nice. Um, oh, Wagstaff did a scavenger hunt, Wes. Nice. So, yeah, anything goes. No. And hey, it's all right, Canute. No harm done. A hot mic does happen. Um, anyway, I mean, this is my last hurrah, right? I'm going to be, I'm retiring. So, joining the other Chuck. I'm joining old handsome Chuck on the way out. So I'm going to be pretty persuadable, I think, to lighten the load down the stretch. Okay, next up is going to be, I am now, I'm just pulling up the exam on my side. I'm not going to show it to you. I don't know, though. I'm thinking the pizza might just work. It's my last hurrah. Where are we at here? But we have to figure it out. It would either be during class time or like maybe on a Saturday. What about on a Saturday? We got to figure it out. Okay, I'm going to drop a couple surveys. We'll come back. We'll do surveys as we get closer because I understand some of you are going to be like, man, I'm going to be out of town, or I'm going to be gone by then, or I'm going to be on a cruise ship somewhere. We can figure it out. Okay, we'll figure that when we're closer. Okay, man, let's figure this thing out. Let me pull it up. Um, Oh, I dropped the. Did you guys see the announcement? Not announcement, article that I dropped in the chat that Christopher Alexander passed away, 90 something. That was, in terms of career, that was some significant um, influence, I guess, is the way that I'd probably put that. Okay, let me see. The midterm, by the way. Okay, I'm going. I got it pulled up over on my side. Okay. Yeah, Kevin, man, rest in peace, Christopher Alexander. I gotta say, The Timeless Way of Building as a book, kind of a life changer. I mean, I read all the time, right? A lot of you do. And I just, recently finished a cool book on big data. This book called, oddly enough, Big Data, because that's kind of what I'm doing at SoFi. Um, I've read a lot of books that are really, really cool and really interesting. Um, but The Timeless Way of Building just hooked me really, really deeply. I don't know if it was phase of life. I was in my mid 30s a while back, but it's still, it's almost like it's like an experience you might have with scripture or with poetry or with something that kind of hooks you emotionally. That kind of touches your core a little bit. And that's how The Timeless Way of Building was for me. You know. So yeah, Wes, you're thinking of Alexander the Great, who was like 500 years ago. Um, no, anyway, but the time, if anybody is game on that one, if that's kind of where your heart goes, if you love architecture and that kind of thing. Oh, is that 2,500 years? I don't know. I don't know. I didn't put a date out for Alexander the Great. I really don't know. Give me some citation on that. That's the beauty of this whole thing. Okay, here we go. I'm going to read you the first part of this I'm going to read you the instructions, okay? And I'd like you to pay some in fact, I'm going to actually copy the instructions. By the way, Mike, you're right. It was before January 1970, right, when we began to clock computer time. So it's basically the same thing. There's an equivalent, which is when you look at people, you guys are all young punks, and you look at people my age, and it's like everything over like 50 is just basically almost dead, and then after you're dead, it's really dead. So it's like everything up to 50 has some bucket, some taxonomy. After 50, it's just like move on, old man. There's something going on, but. And I am from, yes, Seth, good, excellent point. I am from before January 1970. Yes. Oh man. Same age as Alexander the Great and Christopher Alexander, who is now dead. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Um, can I do this thing? Oh, I know what I can do. Hang on. Shoot. What's my formatting? Wait, here we go. No. Okay, here we go. I think I need to find out what my typography is going to be on this. What does that one do? Nah, I'm not satisfied with the typography. Hold tight. Um, what's the one that turns it into code, man? What is it, Alex? What is that? How do we make that happen? I've like backticks. Hang on. Okay, Wes, you're right. Yeah, big fat Greek wedding. Yes, this class we are off the rails, and I don't care. Okay, let me see. All right, so backticks. I should have remembered that, but let's try that. No, that's not it, is it? Is that working? Does that look right? Okay, all right. All right. So item number one. Points are indicated for each question. All right. For every question on the exam, I'm going to Hang on, I'm still messing with formatting. For every question, I'm going to indicate a number of points, okay? 3 back fix, what's that? 3 backs and 3 after? Hang on. Appreciate the tech support, my friends. There we go. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. Much obliged. Much obliged. Okay, everybody cool with that? Oh, and I'm gonna put an indicator just so we can kind of like walk through. That's rule number 1, okay? Enter to save. Okay, rule number 1, points are indicated for each question. Okay, now this is the important part. This is number 2. Who's hot micing? Who's hot miggity on this one? Shame, shame. Okay. Oops. All right. Number 2. You should say, I'm reading this now, okay? Not a fan, right, of reading your own slides kind of thing. You should say at least one fully formed, intelligent thing for each point possible. Now this is important. I'm going to say this, talk to the hand. I'm going to say this with great passion and energy. I'm going to wave a random spoon at you to emphasize that you need to get this, you need to listen to me. For some reason, maybe it's because you're CS types, and maybe it's quiet, shy types that gravitate towards CS, or maybe there's something about CS where we sort of like isolate you so much that you become quiet, shy types. I don't know, but I do know that there is a general tendency. Yeah, Alex, I'm going to get there, but there is a general tendency in your sort of demographic, okay, of CS majors to be really, really terse. And you have to understand that my job, well, there we go, there it comes. If you give a terse 1 or 2 word answer, you're losing points. Okay? Remember that my job isn't to read your mind to guess what you know just because you dropped a few of the right keywords. You need to explain yourself so that if I didn't already know what this thing was after reading your answer, I would know. You have to explain it. So when I say, Christopher Alexander and the timeless way of building was, kind of an inspiration for this is not one of the questions, but I'm just making one up, is an inspiration for the creation of software patterns movement. Discuss. That's your invitation. And if you just go, patterns, what do you want from me? It's patterns. What more can I say? Patterns. Then you've got 0 points. Okay? You need to tell me the story. Tell me the idea behind. And if you can explain the idea to, your little brother, little sister, now we're talking. Okay? Now we're getting there. Let me see. What do we got? Gunner's brain is not fully formed. I can't argue with that. I mean, I'm not saying I agree or disagree, Gunner. I'm just saying I can't argue with it. Lance said, -1 point, things said was not intelligent. Yeah, and what I mean by not intelligent is like fully formed. If you just say patterns are for patterns store knowledge, that's true, but that's not a real intelligent statement. It doesn't help me. Okay, so I guess patterns are databases. Patterns are stories written on scrolls. Patterns are cave carvings and paintings. Patterns are personal journals. Do you see what I mean? You said something true, but I still have no freaking clue what a pattern is, if that was your answer. And I'm going to make this so emphatic, and what it'll empower me to do is when I get to the actually grading the midterms and I'm getting answers like this, I'm just going to go 0. And then anybody who's like, what, isn't that true? Then I know they weren't here today. Or if they were here, they were just here for attendance. Mark your attendance, please. Um, they were just here for attendance and weren't listening and weren't paying attention when I brought the hand to bear. Okay. Yeah, no TLDR answers. Take your time. Look, there's no time limit on it. You can take as much time as you want. You're on a keyboard. So use your words. Say your words. Okay? Use your words. So, Alex, basically, we need to know the thing well enough that we're capable of teaching it to someone else. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about it. Because look, what we're doing when you start talking about designs and UML and diagrams and all that stuff, it's more than anything philosophical. So it's got to be an opportunity for you to sort of, strut your stuff philosophically. Okay. Riley said, in my opinion, it happens because we have a tendency to use less code to do more in a lot of programming languages that carries into how well we write in traditional languages. Yeah. Or what we might call natural languages, typically we'll call those. Yes. Yeah. Seeds, if our answer was overall incorrect but beautifully worded, taught you very well the wrong answer to the question, would we get points? Okay, Tyson, very well articulated question, and the answer is no. Wes said, my little brother already took this class and knows this stuff far better than I. Okay, Wes, I mean, it still has to be the right stuff, right? Right, Mr. Seeds. Wes, did your little brother take it from me or from somebody else? Because if he took it from me, he'll know the stuff that I kind of care about. If he took it from somebody else, he probably knows more. Yeah, I was going to say he knows way more about the Goff patterns themselves and less about the about design and about generally the idea of patterns. Design and cognition. Those are the things that I tend to care about, right? So that means he would have understood the Goff patterns. That's fine. But so, maybe talk to him when it comes to the specific Goff patterns, which I will ask you about. Mike is going to have a breakdown and cry into his pillow. Yeah, there will be no 5-page essays. Yeah, and Wes, I'm just calibrating, right? Just calibrating how much to rely on that, because this class varies. I would say if you take this class from me, you'll get one experience. If you take this class from Neil Harrison, who other than me is the guy who knows the most. I wouldn't say other than me. He's the guy who knows the most about patterns in the department, and I'm probably second in terms of actual depth of knowledge. He was way more involved in that community. But if you take it from Neil, you'll have a certain experience. If you take it from me, you'll have a different experience, but closer to that. And if you take it from anybody else, and this is not making like a criticism or anything. I'm just saying if you then take it from from Lynn or from anybody else, that's a third equivalence class experience. And the reason that you get a different experience from me and Neil is that we both know a great deal. In fact, we met at a patterns conference in 1996. That's where I met Neil Harrison. And so we just both go really, really deep when it comes to patterns philosophically. I have a book signed by Christopher Alexander, for example, on my shelf, and I'm sure Neil does as well. Okay. Mike, what does that mean? Okay, let me go to the next one. Next one up. Okay, are there any questions at all about, yeah, we met at about, dear. Yeah, it's also where I met Ralph Johnson, one of the goth guys, and a few other folks. Okay, are there any questions about that last one I posted? I hope not. I mean, but please, if there are, let me know. Okay, the next one, oh shoot, I meant to, let me edit that. I meant to put a 3 on that. Bullets are fine. Okay, let me translate that to you. It's great if you put bullets. Like if it's a 2-point question and you go bullet and here's a bunch of words and then bullet and here's another bunch of words. What you're telling me with bullets is that here's my assertion. Here's me going for the first point. Next bullet. Here's me going for the second point. Okay, that makes grading simpler. If you start in with a big paragraph and I've got to read through and go blah, 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 and when did you say something interesting? You know, also, I think it will help you to use bullets. But then you have to understand this is the part where I've got to, try to make some sense out of this. A lot of times when we think about bullets, we think about like short, terse phrases, a bulleted list. Well, I'm saying use bullets or some demarcation to say, here's my response to question or to point 1. Here's my response to question 2 or point 2, the second point, okay? So when I say bullets are fine, I'm not saying they're required. They will cause you to say in your mind, did I say enough things here? I do give half points pretty liberally. Like if you started but you didn't finish a complete thought, I can give you half a point for the question, for the answer. What else about bullets? Yeah, let me get to the other ones, to the next ones. Hang on. I've got 4 more of these coming. Okay. The fourth one is don't restate the question in your answer. This is a classic way. You've been trained through just horrible, um, you know, teaching, bad pedagogy. You've been trained to just make up crap and just spew a bunch of words to fill word counts or whatever. And one of the ways to do that is if I say, discuss Christopher Alexander's influence on the patterns community, on whatever, on the evolution of, patterns as an idea. Okay, a terse, bad answer might be something like, he invented it. Nuff said. No, that's like 0. That's basically 0. But here's another thing that you could say that would get you no points so far. What was the question? Describe Christopher Alexander's influence on the evolution of the field of software patterns. And then you start writing. The influence of Christopher Alexander on the development of the field of software patterns is... Okay, now do you understand that to this point you haven't said anything? Okay, what did you do? You restated the question in your answer. You're just burning words. And here's the problem. If you go, is very significant. Now, all you really said was huge. That's all you said. But it feels like you said a lot because you said Christopher Alexander role in the development of the software patterns, blah, 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 was significant. That feels like you just said something important, which you did. The problem is that the question already said it for you. All you did was add an adjective. 0 points at that point. So this is the problem with restating the question in your answer. Okay? When you restate the question in your answer, you create in your own mind and heart this like illusion that you said some stuff, but you didn't say crap. Not yet, but emotionally you did. And for those of you who are not super verbose, you feel like you're halfway there, but you didn't do anything yet. So understand that you don't have to restate the question. I'm going to grade these by basically, I'll know what the question is, and I'm looking for your bullets. For example, and again, that's not an exam question, but for example, you could be like, Alexander wrote the preliminary works, the timeless way of building and a pattern language, and he did this thing with architecture, and then as a byproduct of that, these guys from all realized they'd all read, a pattern language, and that they began to think about how you could apply that to software and blah. You're telling a story now about the role of Christopher Alexander in the development of the patterns movement, right? But and that's not a question, so I'm not like giving stuff away. I'm just saying don't restate the question. Okay? You haven't done anything. I hope that makes sense. Here's another one that you guys will do. Some of you will do. By the way, you can still hear me, right? You'd say something if you couldn't hear me. You just all gone very quiet all of a sudden. Okay. Number 5 is very similar to number 4. In number 4, you take what I said in the question and you say that again for no points. In this one, you say something, then you restate what you said a second time for no extra points. Okay? Just check yourself on this one before you wreck yourself. Saying the same things multiple times in different ways is still one thing. It creates this delusions. Well, okay, Wes. So Wes asked, bullet points will prevent that. I presume it's a typo, right? Will prevent that, right? Or did you mean it as a political statement that bullet points will help prevent the right? Which one is it, Wes? What are you saying? That's more of a 305G discussion. Um, no, okay. And if I understand what you're saying, Wes, I think bullet points, I think that they do tend to help prevent repetition. Because now I have seen bullet point 1 and bullet point 2 is literally just a restatement of bullet point 1. Okay. But having had this conversation, I'm going to be shameless, heartless, about not giving you credit for saying a bunch of words when you say the very same thing over again. Some of you get super verbose, but you're not saying anything. Okay. Let me see. All right. Number 6, close book, close notes. Right. So just be prepared going in that it's closed book, closed notes. I don't know if I don't think I don't think I turned on Proctorio for this. I mean, first of all, you can cheat even with Proctologist if you want to, right? Um, I have failed people out of 2810 during the pandemic for cheating using Proctologist. And it can be done if you're committed. It's just slightly more difficult, but not really. I'd rather just say, you know, just be honest. Just be honest. Yes, Gunner is correct. Gunner wins the chat so far with politics equals super verbose without saying anything. Okay, last thing related to the previous thing. Oh man, tired. You may not access any online resources or other reference material. Um, so I already said closed book, closed notes, just no online resources. Um, and I'm going to change that slightly to say or other reference material. Okay. In other words, it's not just like if I've got some other book, it's not our book. You look, it's closed book, closed internet, closed online resource, closed notes. It's just supposed to be you, the laptop, canvas, the keyboard, your fingers, your brain. You may not pull out a spare brain in the middle of the exam. Um, that was a famous Far Side. Somebody go find it if you would. Far Side. Just look for Far Side spare brain, and first one who can drop it in just wins the chat, basically. You may want to look for exam is maybe another keyword I would look for on that one. There you go. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin win. Sorry, Gunnar. Kevin just overtook you in winning the chat midway through the exam. I like the look on his face. Right, midway through the exam, Alan pulls out a bigger brain. Yeah, yeah. You may do that actually if you have one. If you have a bigger brain, you can apply that. Well done, Kevin. Much appreciated. Okay. Okay. Um, uh, all right. Yeah, Gunner. Yeah, victory. It's fleeting, man. Look, Gunner, here's the thing. Here's the bottom line, Gunner. If you weren't satisfied, without the victory, you weren't going to be satisfied with the victory. You know what I mean? You got to look inside here, Gunner, for your sense of satisfaction. Yeah, Kevin, if your AI neural net is a bigger brain, I mean, I say knock yourself out. It's not going to help you here. Okay. Alrighty, here we go then. I'm dropping in. Are we ready? Drop and go, baby. I'm actually doing this thing in edit mode so that if I come up with something, um, now the first thing I will read to you the first question 0 for 0 points. Here's what it says. It's repeat. Once you start this exam, it's closed book, closed notes, closed neighbor, closed internet, etc. You study in advance, and then when you launch, it's just you and your brain. Okay? Excuse me. Type your name here to indicate your personal word of honor that you haven't broken our agreement for this exam by using any resources other than your brain from the point at which you started the exam. That's just, again, it's one more layer. Sorry, I'm like losing my voice. It's one more layer um, of just helping you to understand that, look, I'm taking this seriously. I don't want it to be casual. If you can just flat out cheat and type your name in that box, then I don't know what to say, right? May God have mercy on your soul. I mean, you know what I mean? Really, life's gonna serve you up. So, if you really aren't ready, my recommendation is take your failing grade, come back at this thing again next semester. Uh, Cheating for a credential when the goal of what you're doing is actually knowing things is just about, you know, I understand the desperation when you're a freshman and you don't know the gig. Not at this point, you know. So anyway, you know how I feel about that. You're like, no, really, Dr. K, stop pulling punches. Okay. There are right now 14 questions. Okay. And if it makes some sense, I might actually read you the questions. Okay. Number one, remember take this fish and look at it? Do ya? Huh? Huh? Do ya? Remember Scudder? I'm going to read it. In the story, Take This Fish and Look at It, the young entomology student, Mr. Scudder, learns some critical lessons about life, learning, personal responsibility, the orders of ignorance, and software design. And then it just says discuss. This one's 2 points. This is use your words. Now, I just literally said Scudder taught you something about the orders of ignorance. That's a hint. Can you bring the orders of ignorance into bear? And if you just say something like, as Scudder put things into order, his ignorance dropped, then I'm going to give you -17. Okay? Don't fake it. It's so transparent. You know, if you fake it like that, then I'm looking where else to take points up. But no, you know what I mean? Software design. What does Scudder have to say about software design? We talked a lot about this. If you were there and your brain was on, your ears were on, and you engaged, or you can even go back, right? You've got till Sunday night to do this. So if you want to go back, knowing what the topics are, you want to go back and review, or discuss, brainstorm with a buddy in the class. That's all fine before you start. Okay, everybody cool? That's question 1. Everybody good? And if you have any clarifying questions, this is your time. And I apologize. I put a cough drop in, but now I got that clacky clack until it gets small. I apologize. Anybody else? Okay, we're good. Number two, Christopher Alexander introduced the quote, quality without a name. We talked a lot about this. Explain what it is. This is 3 points, by the way. Explain what it is. Tell me about the quality without a name. And how it relates to, number 1, the architectural design of physical spaces. That was Alexander's space. No pun. That's the area where he was an expert. He was an architect. So he talked about the quality without a name. Like, for example, in Helena, I went to, I can't remember the name of it, but it was the one big double-spired cathedral. I love going to cathedrals. Um, anyway, there's a big cathedral in Helena. I went inside on Saturday. Um, Actually stumbled into Mass. So I sat there and just, sort of just soaked it up. But architecturally, it's an amazingly beautiful building. And I would say that Alexander's quality without a name was applied there, but it was applied in the space of physical building, right? The third question, which is the second part of how it relates to the design and construction of software. Okay, this is your chance to clarify, and I will, in some instances, say, no, I'm not going to. I want to be more meta level, and I'm not going to like, you know, like I said, I'm not going to give you, a definition. So you're like, well, but on the 21st you said this. Well, that was abbreviated, you know. Yeah, seeds. Number 2. You know what I might do? Okay, hang on. I'm gonna do you a solid. And no, here's what I'm gonna do. And don't say strong bad never did nothing for the peoples. That's the first question right there. I'm dropping them in the chat. Oh, that one is worth 2. Let me do an edit on that. Because what I really want you to do is just revisit the fish story. Just revisit that discussion. Maybe rewatch that lecture. It's all up on YouTube. Okay, number dos. Wait, what? Okay, that's the question. Number two. Everybody owes this one to seeds, I think. Oh, I got you, Wes. Sorry, that was for me. Yeah, well, there's got to be a little Homestar. You know what I mean? Uh, live through it, man. Okay, here's number two. By the way, with my wife, we have this thing where every so often somebody will say something and one of us will go, "You're probably right. I drove." There's a reference for you. Okay, everybody cool with this? 3 points. Alexander introduced the quality without a name. Explain what it is. And for those watching on YouTube, go to the chat if you want to see the questions written down and how it relates to the architecture of and design, architectural design of physical spaces, the design and construction of software. Okay? Number three, I definitely want you to just sort of know that this one's coming. This one is a 4-point question. Okay? Okay, you remember, I don't know if I've said this, but one of my core philosophies of exams is to not require a lot of rote memorization. And the problem with rote memorization is it has a half-life of about a half an hour. You cram your guts out. And I think that the reason people do it is first and foremost for the convenience of the professor. It's just easier to grade. And I'm not saying that that's invalid. Um, the professor is a limited bandwidth, depending upon TAs and other stuff. But like multiple choice questions, true, false, matching, the classics, they're bad as pedagogical measures of learning. They are horrible. The best is actually short answer because it gives you a chance to express in your own words. You're not constrained. Yeah, I got it, James. We've only got 11 more questions left. But you're right. I do need to speed it up. But the question number three is a variant. I do want you to memorize zeroth, first, second, and third. You do need to memorize those and be ready to talk about them. Okay? So apologies in advance on that one. Okay, number four. Yeah, rest in peace, Flash, huh? Number four is 2 points. Okay, here's number four. We talked about architectural patterns. What does that mean? Articulate a clear example of an architectural pattern in the context of software. We talked about this explicitly in lecture. So go reference the lecture. Okay. 5. Is a 2-point question. Related to the previous one, we talked about idiomatic patterns. What does that term mean? Articulate a clear. Now, when I say articulate a clear example of an idiomatic pattern in the context of software, let me just, real quick, somebody just give me an example. And I don't care if everybody uses this one, but give me an example without articulating it. Just state tersely an example of an idiomatic pattern in the context of software. Somebody give me something. For loop. Right. Landon is correct. A for loop is an idiomatic pattern. What will get you half a point, but not a full point? Saying exactly what Landon said. Now, this is not a criticism, Landon, because yeah, Seth, I swear, Seth, sometimes. No, I asked specifically, please don't articulate it, just state the example. Landon said for loop. Correct, the for loop is an idiomatic pattern. But I said, the question says, articulate a clear example. You got to, and we talked about this in class. You got to tell me why you've already told me what an idiomatic pattern was. Now you have to apply that to this. Why is for loop? You know, you talk about it. Okay. Okay. The rest of these, a few of these, there are two of them that relate to patterns from the Skaterchick book. Oh, this one is two puntos. Um, and describe the strategy pattern. What problem is it trying to solve? How does it solve that problem? Okay. One of the reasons that that's 2 points and not 3 um, is you can't really describe, since a pattern is a solution to a problem in a context, you can't really tell what a pattern is without talking about the problem it's trying to solve. I hope that makes sense. And the second one is observer. And just cram those up, just refresh on that. Now, there are no, on this midterm, there are no more patterns from the Goff book that we're like asking you to do things. There's no code either on this thing, FYI. I know it's going to be a sore disappointment to some of you. Okay, number 8. And this one is 2 points. Format. Okay, number 8 is 2 points. In the Design of Everyday Things, that's the book. Don Norman said that if you have to put a sign on a device to help explain how to use it, like a door, was his classic. The device is poorly designed. Explain. Go back to the lecture. If you're like, I don't remember that, that's fine. Just go back to the lecture. Review it. Watch it again. Oh, this one's actually 3 points. Number 9. Discuss at least 3 different ways of deriving/generating use cases. Pretty straightforward. You got to know what a use case is. You got to know how we derive use cases. We talked about it in lecture. Explicitly. Number 10 is 2 points. Now, this one's, okay, do you remember there was an assignment early on about shiny objects and squeaking doors? I'm not even, if I have to tell you at this point that these are metaphors, then it's already too late. Discuss the psychology. What I'm asking you to do is go back to my lecture. What is going on? I didn't just say discuss shiny objects. I said discuss the psychology. I talked about this at length. What's the cognitive thing? What's going on in your head when that happens? That's what I'm asking. Okay, number 11. You got to like this one. 1 point. Why is knowing that something sucks the beginning of wisdom, at least from a design perspective? Say some, it can't be 5 words. Say a couple sentences to articulate your meaningful point, okay? Is this good so far, by the way? No, you're not answering. You should answer these in your head right now, Seth. These are the exam questions, Seth. Somebody get on the phone with Seth and help him understand what's going on here. But no, answer them in your head, Seth. That's the assignment. Oh, man, killing me. You're killing me. Okay, number 12. These are the exam, man. Sunday night, Landon. Sunday night at midnight. It's okay, Seth. You did say earlier that you had like brain damage or something. I don't know that you said your brain was not fine. You need to get your bigger brain. Okay, number 12. Oh, sorry. Hang on. Post concussion syndrome. That's crap, man. I am sorry. Number 12. Discuss coupling. Do you remember this conversation last week? Do you remember at length we talked about coupling and cohesion? Well, Dr. K, what about cohesion? Wow, it's interesting that you should ask about that because they're cohesion. Coupling and cohesion. And here's the reality is, I'm not generally a fan of like, oh, here's the exam questions. But in this class, honestly, you're going through the Skater Chick book. It's guiding you on a journey. You're doing the code. As long as you're doing that honestly, you're having a good experience with that. The book's not bad. The coding is a good exercise, a little satisfying. You walk through it. It's a good book. And then I'm telling you the big philosophical takeaways that if they sink into your head will make a difference to you 20 years from now. And understanding what the strategy pattern, a little bit of sanity checking on having touched the book, right? But knowing all the however many 24 golf patterns is not going to matter one iota 20 years from now, and maybe not 5. I don't know. I really don't. How long? But there is a shelf life on that. The notion of the cognitive impact of shiny objects and squeaking doors, there is no shelf life. Okay? All the other questions I'm talking about are eternal, basically, as far as software is concerned, sort of in the world. Okay? Last question. There's only 14 questions, my friend. Number 14, discuss the fundamental value of use cases. Is that 2? Yeah. That's 31 points. 31 points, amigos. And it should be obvious. Okay, it opens up, by the way, on Wednesday at noon. Okay? Wait. Let me change the until date. I'm going to go till Sunday night. Give you till, midnight on Sunday. Yeah, okay. Everybody got that? It opens up on Wednesday at noon. Yeah, Seth, 15. What is the, yeah, Seth, I need you to answer that question right now. What is the best pizza place for that elusive extra point of extra credit for the extra thin Boston thin crust, for the extra tasty? Yeah, so here's what I'll do. Yeah, William, both exams combined to 30%. I'll probably do something. I don't know. I'm trusting you on that one. Um, but yeah, I mean, kill it on this thing, and I'll do something, but I don't know what it's going to be. If you kill it on this midterm, I might just let you count that as your final. If you didn't, I may give you, you know, one more shot at something. But look, you know, in the words of the old cliched Western, I don't want to kill you and you don't want to be dead. Like I don't want to give you an exam. You don't want to take it and I don't want to grade it. So I'm going to try to optimize, to all that. Yeah, Seeds, what's your favor? You launched this whole thing, so have mercy. Yeah, man. No, hey, which one? Silverado. Silverado is a classic, man. No, I think that Danny Glover doesn't. Craig, isn't that true? Wasn't it Danny Glover? in Silverado who says, I don't want to kill you and you don't want to be dead. Um, yeah, Landon. Yeah, your desire for pizza activates your memory. Silverado is a great. It actually was. It's a post westerns western. So, now, as long as we're talking about Silverado, it was made as like a throwback to the genre, and turns out to just be a really, really great western in its own right. Yeah, great. Who's the director? Lawrence Kasdan. Stars everybody, including Kevin Costner, John Cleese. It has a lot of Kevin Kline, Brian Dennehy. It's a great movie. One of my all-time, probably my favorite actual western. Um, so Ali, um, yeah, the thing is, you can pause the exam, but the problem is you can't study anymore. Does that make sense? So Ali, yeah, Luke, that was Danny Glover's character. I can't remember what his character was in the movie, but it was played by Danny Glover. Yeah. Oh, what does he say? Oh, you ever seen what a Henry rifle can do in the hands of somebody that knows how to use it? And then the guy goes, and who would that be? And he's like, chung chung. It's classic. Anyway, all right. So let me hit. Where were we? James said, just to make sure that I heard you right. You said you could talk with other students about these questions before we take the exam. Absolutely. Okay. That is. I'm going to drop a little thumbs up on that. Yes. Okay, Ali. Here's the thing. If you take it, pause, get some food, take a break, come back to it. What you can't do is accidentally read anything anywhere. So you can't just like take it for a day or two, pause for a day. You can't go back and study material in between. Once you start it, it's sort of closed book. So I would say if you're pausing to grab a bite to eat, yeah. If you're pausing to do other homework in other classes, no. That's how I would probably approach that. And again, you're on your own from an honor perspective. Um, um, Yeah, no, canoe, like a nap. Yeah, if you want to pause and take a nap, come back and keep going, but you just can't pause now, refresh on the material, and then keep going. But sure, take a nap. I don't care. Ponder some yummy goodness at Nico's. It's all good. It's not timed. And I'm looking at it just to be sure. Yeah, there's no time limit on it. Yeah. Okay. Can I get somebody? So I went ahead and I made a couple changes while we were talking, and I did the save and publish. It's not published, but it shouldn't be available. Would somebody just from your angle just go look and see that you can't see it? Should be under either assignments or quizzes. Or maybe you'll see it, but you can't get to it or something. Under exams, somebody throw me a bone on that. Okay, perfect, perfect. So you can see it, but it's not available until till Wednesday at noon. Okay, perfect. Listen, you literally know. I don't know if I've done that before, but it's not like anybody in future classes is gonna, I'm not gonna teach this class again, as far as I know. Um, yep, yep. 12 a.m. Wait, let me see. Let me just double check. Um, oh, it's not noon, but 12 a.m. Okay, so that's fine. That doesn't hurt anything. So anytime Wednesday. Yeah, 12 a.m. Anytime Wednesday. I don't care. Noon doesn't. There's nothing sacred about noon versus 12 a.m. Start at midnight. Yeah, that'll be the key to your success. Oh yeah, yeah. And thank you, James. No class Wednesday. You get a class period off for the exam. So if you want to get together during class, I would have zero ixnay problem with anybody that wanted to gather in the classroom to do kind of a group study, talk about it, bat it around. Remember, you got to write your own words. So there's that. But group study is only going to help you understand the material better. I have no problem with that. If you want to get together and get a little subgroup, there are some group chat rooms right here on the thing. You're welcome to just like throw down a group and jump on a Discord chat, in one of the group rooms. All good, but no class on Wednesday. Yeah, and the only thing I would ask, Alex, is if you do a group voice call, do we have some group voice channels? Yeah, yeah. Jump into one of the group rooms. You know what I mean? So that the main, well, it shouldn't matter if there's no class going on. It shouldn't matter. But it might make a little more sense to jump into one of the group rooms just to keep the channel clear in case. I don't know what's going to happen. What difference would it make? I don't know that it makes a difference. So, okay, we're out of time. I hope that helps. I really want you to smoke it. I have no problem giving everybody A's. I really, really don't. Uh, if everyone's got an A, it's because everybody cared, everybody dove in, everybody rocked Mr. Scudder's, philosophy and learned a ton. That's the main thing I care about. So, okay, I'm out. Good luck, good luck, good luck, and I will see you back next Monday.